LeBron always moves strange, not like Kobe.
You heard that right. Michael Jordan isn't just throwing shade. He's making it crystal clear that he's never liked or respected LeBron James. And today, we're breaking down the full story behind Jordan's long-standing beef with LeBron. From how MJ dismissed the chosen one hype to the surprising reason Kobe got the mentorship LeBron never did. Wait until you hear the shocking truth Jordan exposed about LeBron and Diddy. Trust me, this goes way deeper than you think. If you know anything about Michael Jordan, you know he lived off competitiveness. Many call him the most ruthless winner the NBA has ever seen, and that's no exaggeration. He didn't just want to beat his opponents. He wanted to humiliate them and crush their spirit. That kind of mentality doesn't disappear when you retire. It lingers, shaping how you view everyone who comes after you. So picture this. It's 2002, and Jordan's watching the media hype up a high school kid from Akron, Ohio. They're calling him the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Before LeBron even played a single NBA minute, journalists were already saying he might be the one to dethrone Michael Jordan. To MJ, that wasn't a compliment about the future. It was a direct shot at him and at the empire he built with 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, and a brand that still dominates sneakers and culture decades later. When the media started hyping up LeBron James as the chosen one, Jordan wasn't cheering from the sidelines. He was irritated. To him, greatness wasn't something handed to you on a magazine cover. It was something you earned the hard way, brick by brick, season after season. Remember, Jordan entered the league in 1984, when he had to fight through the bad boy Pistons, silence critics who said he shot too much, and prove himself year after year until his 6 titles and global icon status spoke louder than any headline. And if you want proof of how personal competition is to him, just look at his Hall of Fame speech in 2009.
Leroy Smith was a guy, when I got cut, he made the team, on the varsity team. But he started the whole process for me because when he made the team and I didn't, I wanted to prove not just to Leroy Smith, not just to myself, but to the coach who actually picked Leroy over me. I wanted to make sure you understood you made a mistake, dude.
On what should have been the most gracious night of his career, Jordan used the stage not to celebrate, but to settle old scores with coaches, players, and executives. That's who Michael Jordan is, a man who never forgets. He keeps receipts. So when the media started labeling LeBron James as his heir apparent, you can bet that went straight into his mental filing cabinet. Every headline, every comparison, every next Jordan comment only fueled that competitive fire inside him. Even LeBron himself has admitted that his relationship with Jordan is distant. During an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show in 2025, LeBron flat out said it.
You and Michael at a good spot.
Who, me and Michael?
Jordan?
Yeah, we're a good spot.
Confirming what many fans had already suspected for years. There's no warmth, no mentorship, no personal bond between the two legends. Just a cold, respectful distance rooted in decades of unspoken tension. So that you understand how deep this really goes, Michael Jordan isn't just another retired legend looking down on the new generation. To LeBron James, MJ is the idol, the man whose posters hung on his childhood bedroom wall, the standard he grew up chasing. Yet despite all that admiration, there's no real relationship between them. For someone as respected and accomplished as LeBron, that's unusual. Other greats, like Kobe Bryant, were welcomed into Jordan's inner circle, that exclusive fraternity of NBA icons. Jordan gave Kobe that bond. But LeBron, he never got it. And here's the kicker. The very things that made fans fall in love with LeBron were the same things that made Jordan keep his distance. The hype, the headlines, the chosen one nickname, to MJ, those weren't badges of honor. They were red flags. And trust me, it only gets deeper from here. Because this was never just about 2 players. It was about something much bigger. The empire Jordan built, the throne he guarded, and the legacy he refused to let anyone rewrite. Michael Jordan didn't just dominate basketball. He redefined what it meant to be a global sports icon. Before him, NBA players were stars, sure, but they weren't superstars. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird carried the league in the 80s, but Jordan took it to another universe. He became more than a player. He became a brand. Air Jordan sneakers are still the most popular in the world decades after his retirement. Gatorade made the Be Like Mike commercials that kids sang in schoolyards. Space Jam turned him into a movie star. Every dunk, every finals performance, every championship celebration became part of a larger story. one that shaped the idea of the modern celebrity athlete long before social media existed. That's why LeBron's arrival was so sensitive. The throne wasn't just about stats or rings, it was about the empire Jordan built and protected. When the media started saying LeBron could surpass him, Jordan didn't just hear noise, he heard danger. Because if there's one thing we know about MJ, it's that he's obsessed with legacy. Most players retire and move on, but Jordan never stopped caring about how people ranked him. You can see it in his interviews. Whenever someone hints that another player might be the GOAT, he gets defensive. He'll downplay other stars and remind people that he went 6 for 6 in the finals. Now imagine how he felt when a teenager was being called the next Michael Jordan before proving anything. Remember, Jordan was never shy about crushing threats during his career. When young players challenged him, he destroyed them. Like the time he dropped 55 points on rookie Allen Iverson after AI crossed him up, or when he buried Clyde Drexler in the 1992 finals after comparisons surfaced. That was MJ's mentality. You don't share his airspace unless you've earned it. And even then, he'll still remind you who's in charge. But with LeBron, Jordan couldn't settle it on the court. Their careers barely overlapped. So instead, he drew his battle lines in the media. Whenever he was asked about LeBron, he'd offer polite respect but keep his tone cold and calculated. He'd emphasize championships, or pivot the conversation toward Kobe whenever asked about successors. It was his subtle way of saying, "This guy doesn't get to sit at my table." To really understand why that chosen one cover bothered Jordan so much, you have to look at how differently they came up. Jordan wasn't chosen, he was overlooked. He was cut from his high school varsity team as a sophomore, went to North Carolina where he had to fight for minutes behind upperclassmen, and when he entered the NBA in 1984, he wasn't even the #1 pick. He went third, behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. His entire story began with doubt and obstacles. LeBron's story, though, was the complete opposite. The hype around him was unlike anything the NBA had ever seen. He was on ESPN as a high schooler. His games sold out arenas before he even graduated. By the time the 2003 NBA draft arrived, everyone, from Nike to ESPN to Jay-Z, was
Between the two, that'd be a tough choice. I mean, but 5 beats 1.
treating him like basketball's savior. The comparisons to Jordan came immediately. LeBron wore number 23, signed a $90 million Nike deal before playing a single NBA game, and carried the nickname King James. It all felt like the world was positioning him as the next MJ, without him earning it first. And that's the thing. Jordan's competitive
That's a foul all day long.
Oh, I know you ain't talking. I know you ain't talking.
Hey, you only got 3 now. I get 6. How do I get that foul? You only got 3 now.
You right, can't say nothing to that. Hey, Mike, you gotta shoot it quick. I'm getting to that.
Go ahead, you already.
Yeah, but I'm getting to that. I know where you're going. I'm getting to that.
No.
You gotta get up quick.
If you knew where I was going, why you go for the fake?
Mike, after you fake the ball, where else you
You
gonna
left
go?
your feet.
Yeah, but where else you gonna go?
In the game, I go for you.
I spun all the way
I
around.
go for these ribs right here.
I spun all the way around and got to you.
streak wasn't just about winning games. It was about control. Control of his image, his narrative, and most importantly, his legacy. He wanted to decide who got to be mentioned in the same breath as him. Even decades later, this was the breaking point. If that chosen one cover symbolized LeBron's coronation, Michael Jordan saw it as nothing short of an attempted coup, a direct challenge to his throne. To him, it wasn't just a magazine headline. It was a declaration that someone else was being crowned king before earning it. And in Jordan's mind, there was only one player worthy of being called his true successor, and it wasn't LeBron James. Because if there's one thing Michael Jordan has made crystal clear over the years, it's that his true basketball little brother wasn't LeBron James, it was Kobe Bryant. And once you break it down, the reasons aren't hard to see. First, let's talk about personality. Kobe was wired almost identically to Jordan. Both were cold, ruthless, and obsessive competitors. They didn't care about being liked, they cared about being feared. That relentless killer instinct, that willingness to freeze out teammates or take 40 shots if that's what it took to win.
You have to put up with the aggravation, the late night calls, or the dumb questions.
That was Jordan's DNA, and Kobe carried it proudly. Jordan saw himself in Kobe in a way he never could with LeBron. LeBron's game has always been about making the right basketball play, A pass-first superstar who'd rather find the open man than force a tough shot. To most fans, that's unselfishness. But to Jordan, it looked like softness. In his world, the alpha dog doesn't look for the pass. He takes the shot, lives with the result, and proves he's the best. Then there's work ethic. Kobe didn't just admire Jordan, he studied him. He built his entire career in Jordan's image. The footwork, the fadeaway.
Kobe was my dear friend. He was like a little brother.
Even the way he walked and talked, all modeled after MJ. Kobe wanted to be Jordan, and Jordan respected that kind of obsession. There are interviews where Kobe flat out admitted that he used to call Michael Jordan at all hours of the night, asking about footwork, counter moves, and the mindset it took to dominate. That's how deep his obsession ran. Kobe wasn't just inspired by Jordan. He treated him like a mentor, a living blueprint for greatness. LeBron, on the other hand, never chased Jordan's approval that way. He idolized him, no doubt, but his approach was different. LeBron didn't want to be the next Jordan. He wanted to be LeBron James. His path was about carving out his own lane, building a legacy defined by versatility, leadership, and longevity rather than imitation. And because of that, the bond that Jordan shared with Kobe never formed with LeBron. And don't underestimate the emotional side of all this. When Kobe Bryant tragically passed away in 2020, Michael Jordan's tribute at the memorial was raw and unforgettable. He called Kobe his little brother, and broke down in tears while speaking about their bond. That wasn't a performance, that was genuine love. You could feel the depth of connection that had been built over years of late-night conversations, mentorship, and mutual respect. LeBron, on the other hand, never had that kind of intimacy with Jordan. There's respect, yes, but only from a distance. No mentorship, no midnight phone calls, no big brother, little brother relationship. And if you listen closely, that silence speaks volumes. It's not just about play style or personality, either. Jordan has always been hyper-aware of legacy. For him, Kobe reinforced the myth of the Jordan way, that ruthless win-at-all-costs mentality that defined an era. LeBron, meanwhile, represented something different, something modern. He embodied player empowerment, friendships across rival teams, and a willingness to use his platform for political and social activism. To Jordan, who spent his career carefully guarding his image and avoiding
When you were a kid, who did you look up to? When you
Wow, I love Michael Jordan.
controversy, LeBron's brand of leadership might have felt foreign, maybe even threatening. That's why, even today, you'll hear Jordan speak about Kobe with warmth, pride, and genuine affection, while his comments about LeBron remain clipped, distant, and technical. And for LeBron, a man who grew up idolizing MJ, that lack of blessing must sting. Because in sports, there's no crown heavier than the one Michael Jordan wore, and no endorsement more powerful than his approval. That's the thing about NBA culture. Silence often speaks louder than words. The greats usually love passing the torch. Magic Johnson made a whole event out of embracing Kobe when he entered the league. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar mentored Shaquille O'Neal and publicly blessed him as the next dominant big man. Even Bill Russell would show up at finals games just to personally hand over the trophy and dap up players like Kobe and Kevin Garnett. But with Jordan and LeBron, there was nothing. No symbolic passing of the torch, no public blessing, no brotherhood moment. And if you remember, LeBron himself
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
once admitted, they simply don't talk. It's not like LeBron hasn't tried to give Michael Jordan his flowers. He's done it repeatedly, calling MJ his inspiration, his GOAT, the reason he ever picked up a basketball. LeBron has never hidden his admiration. But instead of being embraced, he spent his entire career living under the shadow of Jordan's silence. That cold indifference became part of the story, a constant reminder that his idol never truly accepted him. And here's where things took a wild turn, when the Diddy rumors started. Once whispers about LeBron's image and off-court life began to circulate, Jordan's distance suddenly looked less like indifference and more like confirmation. People started connecting dots that maybe weren't even there. Then came that viral clip, the one where Michael Jordan
How legitimate was the hatred between those Bulls teams and those Pistons?
Oh, I hated him. And yeah, he carries even to this day.
supposedly said LeBron always moves strange, not like Kobe, before dropping that now infamous line about the Diddy situation. That's when things exploded. Suddenly, fans weren't just talking about basketball anymore. They were dissecting every word, every tone, every gesture. And before anyone could dismiss it as just another wild social media rumor, the shocker was that, according to multiple reports, Michael Jordan actually said it. Michael Jordan's words hit hard. LeBron always moves strange. Not like Kobe. And when the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right all along. That's why I chose to mentor Kobe, not him. Those comments sent shockwaves through the basketball world. They weren't just criticism. They felt personal, almost like Jordan was drawing a moral and cultural line between the two players. Fans immediately started dissecting what he meant, connecting it to the stories that had been circulating online about LeBron's association with Diddy. And then there was that clip, the one where LeBron went live on Instagram with Diddy and said, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." Yeah, that one. It resurfaced everywhere, fueling speculation and giving Jordan's comments even more weight. Suddenly, the feud wasn't just about basketball legacy anymore. It was about image, perception, and trust. For years, wild rumors have tied LeBron James to Diddy's circle, from late-night celebrity events to casual Instagram moments like that one live clip. Most of it was just noise, the kind of speculation that always follows global superstars. But when Michael Jordan referenced the Diddy stuff, those whispers suddenly didn't sound like jokes anymore. The GOAT himself had weighed in, and that changed everything. Let's back up for context. Diddy has been in serious legal trouble for a while. In 2025, he was convicted on 2 counts after years of disturbing allegations from ex-partners, including Cassandra Ventura, who accused him of a long pattern of abuse and coercion. Multiple lawsuits followed, alleging assault and exploitation spanning more than a decade. That's the real backdrop behind the Diddy Party clips. What once looked like harmless celebrity fun now carried the weight of serious legal and moral controversy. So imagine the optics. LeBron, one of the most scrutinized athletes in the world, appears in a casual, joking Instagram clip with Diddy. And Jordan, a man whose entire empire was built on discipline, control, and spotless image management, sees it. When he later said, "When the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right, it wasn't gossip." It was Jordan doing what he's always done. Reading patterns through the lens of someone who turned perception into power. To him, LeBron's association with Diddy wasn't just bad timing, it was a red flag.
All for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. You know, everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team to ever assemble.
Flag. And here's the kicker. The internet noticed. Memes spread faster than a fast break. Fans turned those clips into proof that LeBron wasn't cut from the same cloth as Kobe, that he wasn't as disciplined, as focused, or as refined. Jordan didn't need to say much more. That single clip, paired with his comment, did all the heavy lifting. Even LeBron's defenders had to admit it. When the greatest player of all time looks at you and says, "You don't move right," that sticks. But the truth is, the tension between Michael Jordan and LeBron James doesn't exist in isolation. Rivalries are the lifeblood of the NBA. In fact, half the league's history reads more like a highlight reel of grudges than a sports timeline. That's why MJ versus LeBron feels so familiar. It's part of the NBA's DNA. Think back to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Their rivalry wasn't just about basketball. It was cultural. East Coast versus Midwest, Lakers Showtime versus Boston Grit. They carried the league by competing like their legacies depended on it. The wild part. They ended up becoming close friends later on, but during their careers, they could barely stand each other. Fast forward to the late 80s, and you've got Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, a rivalry so toxic it still lingers today. The Detroit Pistons built the infamous Jordan rules, a defensive strategy that was basically legalized assault. MJ hated it, and to this day, he hasn't forgiven Thomas. You saw it in The Last Dance. He said it with his whole chest. That animosity never died.